Aloha everyone, it's Maui Horoscope with Christina, and I'm coming to you on June 1st, 2020 to discuss some events this month. Here we have the new moon, the full moon, penumbral eclipse, full moon lunar eclipse, there we go, sun 20, moon 20. This will be happening around 3 o'clock on June 5th. Gives us a Virgo rising, and it is ruled by Mercury, but that part of Virgo, which is Chitra, is ruled by Mars. And it could actually be, it's with Spica, the star of wealth. It's such a bright star in that constellation. Who knows, it might not be a bad day for financials. Anyway, even on Monday, June 1st here, we had all those riots this weekend, and what happened to the stock market? It went up. Okay, so we have Virgo rising, ruled by Mercury, and Chitra's ruled by Mars. We've got Sun in Taurus, in Rohini, which is ruled by the moon, and it's asking us to use our intelligence. And then the moon is in Jeshta, which is ruled by Mars. And Jeshta is asking us to have courage. So here we are, we have intelligence and courage, and we've got all of this upheaval going on, especially with Mars and Purva Bhadrapada, which is at 20 degrees Aquarius here, which is willing to sacrifice itself for the good of the group, of course, Aquarius. So we have the continued demonstrations on Mr. Floyd's death. Funnily enough, this Venus here on June 5th at 17 degrees Taurus is in Kritika, and actually is about losing one's head. So amazing that he was killed through his neck to his head. And you couldn't have gotten a better example of racial oppression than that horrific video that unfortunately was recorded. I'm glad it was recorded, but wild that the police stood guard while it was being recorded from a variety of angles. Just the whole thing. Every cop involved in that should be an accessory to murder in the first degree. Anyway, so we've got the sun and the north node here in Mrigashira in the 9th house. So this full moon loose eclipse here, which will be exact on June 21st as a new moon eclipse, is going to be intense. We need to respond with intelligence and courage to situations in life. We need to be willing to sacrifice ourselves for the greater good, but do so with caution and spirituality, meaning realizing that everyone is part of the whole. I don't know if the extreme right-wing fascist Ku Klux Klan people could be, they're in it too. So, the Civil War is coming back to haunt us, right? The whole slave, everything. It's the nodes in the galactic plane of Sagittarius Gemini. I made that other reading, that talked about how 500 years ago, we had the same exact eclipse cycle, and that's when, the Turks turned to North Africa and started the slave trade with the Spanish and the Portuguese over to the Americas. So, we're still working it through. And of course, we need to come to equal rights for all, men, women, no matter what color. So, anyway, this full moon solar eclipse should be very interesting. And my encouraging words are to do your artwork, do your writing, do your singing, focus on the arts, focus on spreading the word around, focus on being intelligent with your protest, not diving down with the south node down here, into the destroying your neighbors' businesses. That's that's not going to help. Of course, if the white supremacists are in the neighborhood and destroying your businesses, then obviously they should be arrested too. So this is really a time to focus on gardening and having encouraging words for ourselves, and being focused on the things that we can change, and to use our intelligence to lead us to success. So then on the full moon, on the new moon solar eclipse, we have it here on June 21st at like 3 a.m. We have the sun, the moon, and the north node, Rahu, at 4 to 5 degrees Gemini in Mrigashira, and Ardra is at 19 degrees retrograde in Ardra. And Mercury, Venus, Saturn, Jupiter, and even Pluto, they're all retrograde. So very internal time. The Mercury retrograde, we really have to control our violent temper, and we need to do something creative with it. We need to write. We need to write songs. We need to write things. We need to document, especially in the third house. We need to organize protests. The north node with the sun and moon in Mrigashira, a lot of biotech companies sure are making a lot of money looking for the vaccine for coronavirus, right? They're seeking the vaccine. Now we're seeking cures to the police violence. We're seeking justice, cures and for the systemic justice inequities. And there's so many inequities in our United States of America and in the world. Look what's happening to the Syrians. Look what's happening to all the refugees around the world. And the food. Look at this. The eclipse with the sun and moon. How is that going to be faring, in the food? It's like eclipsing that with the locusts and the dryness in the western part of the United States and in Africa. And I read that the locusts are going into India, so that's a real famine. Famine is a real problem. You get the north node cutting things off during the solar eclipse, and it's the solstice, so it's like a pattern for the summertime. And look, it's Aries rising with Uranus exactly conjunct the ascendant. Of course, Aries is ruled by Mars, but it's in Ashwini. This aspect is in Ashwini, and it's ruled by the south node. So we go down up here to the south node in Mula still. Mula in the 8th house, exposing the roots and everything that's within a root system, the past, what feeds us, what's living with us, viruses, 8th house. So we've got Uranus conjunct the ascendant, and this part of Aries is ruled by Mars, is ruled by the south node, and the south node's in the 8th house. So a lot of work obviously being done on a vaccine or a cure. There could be a breakthrough with this tie-in. And I certainly hope I'm not into a vaccine personally. I'm into a cure. I don't want to be hit up with a vaccine of a bat virus that's like rushed through the system personally. We're going to have to come up with a better way of doing this. And what are we going to do when all the viruses come out of the glaciers that are melting, that are millions of years old? I mean, we really actually need to get sort of a system down that people are going to be adhering to. Funnily enough, when we go back here, we can see that the Kalasarpa, Mercury broke through the Kalasarpa, so it ended like a week or two ago, and wasn't that when everybody was like, enough already with the lockdown. Okay, so now here we are back to June 21st, and we've got the north node with the sun and the moon in the 2nd house, and then the south node in the 8th house. So people are really, it's a great time to use your creativity. and to seek out your creativity or any kind of answers that you have. With the Mercury in Ardra and Gemini, it's really important for people not to just contain their explosiveness, but use their rage in a constructive manner. We're still super ragey here, and we're going to be ragey for a while. Now, the thing is that Mars up here is moving from Aquarius to Pisces. This is on June 21st. And so when Mars is in Pisces, I predict that people are going to get pretty lazy about demonstrating and stuff, and it's going to get hot, and they're going to get distracted and feel, feel like they're not really into it. But that's going to change when Mars hits the Gandant over here in September. Mars is going to go from Pisces to Aries, and at the same time the South Node's going from Sagittarius to Scorpio, and so those both are going to be in where fire turns to steam, and so September and October are going to be pretty brutal months. But I guess I'm getting sort of out of June. So anyway, for this month, I'd love to encourage everybody to please keep calm in the head. Don't lose your head. Stay grounded. Stay in the garden. Stay doing your art. Stay safe. Stay focused on your health. Stay pumping up your immune system. Stay kind with yourself. Use your intelligence. Get smart. Organize. Get those, figure out how to plug up the holes. It's going to be a while before unemployment's back to low numbers, so you've got to cut off the things that are costing you money and get with an austerity program so that you can cruise through these difficult times, which are going to be for a while, and a while is longer than a month. So we need, obviously, change within government, and we need government to be held accountable and have some integrity and be working for the people, by the people. It's obvious that our government has been hijacked by a few small interests, and the politicians are happy to go along with it. So if you don't like what you're seeing, you need to get out there and vote for change. And actually, if you want to, we can go up to Trump's chart, and we're going to go to transits. We're going to do transits. Well, we can do transits for the day. Let's do today, June 1st. It's going to be his birthday soon. And he's got the North Node on his Sun. And he's having a Mercury return in Ardra. And he's got Venus and Sun on his Uranus. This guy is lit up. And what a complete failure as a president, except to fatten the wallets of the fat cats already. I mean, he has done very little for this country except destroy so much. So this North Node here, the Rahu on his Sun, and he already has Sun conjunct Rahu, making him an egomaniac, even more than the narcissistic egomaniac that he is. And then the Sun, Venus here on his Uranus, he's very erratic these days. And the Mercury here in Ardra, I mean, he is just seething. And, he's very disturbed right now. He's very, very disturbed. And you can hear he's extremely defensive. He's very unpresidential, if you could even remotely call him a man who's fit to be president. I mean, he has done nothing except bring chaos and destruction to so many important aspects to our lives: the educational system, the environmental protections, accountability. The police brutality was there even under Obama, but under the Republicans, they wouldn't let Obama do a lot of legislative changes. No, we need a change. We need basically the Democrats to win everything and get them to have integrity, to do the right thing for the group. Here's Mars. Mars is in his 7th house, so he's like super defensive. Then Mars is going into the 8th house, and Mars will be in his 9th house during the election, which could be beneficial for him. Oh no, the Mars will be in his 8th house, and it's going to be quincunxing because Mars goes retrograde. That's right. Mars goes up to Aries, and then it retrogrades back to Pisces, and then it goes back through his 8th house. You know, he could die from the stress, and Saturn is coming up to his 6th house, and his health is very, very poor. And then he has the South Node here at 4 degrees, just coming into his 4th house from his 5th house, and lots of loss with women and around women. Of course, losing the woman vote. I certainly hope women show up for Joe Biden. I mean, he didn't show up for Anita Hill, but the Joe Biden administration will show up for women much more. So the South Node is here, and he's going to go through a loss. Actually, the South Node going through his 4th house, he could die in the next 2 years. His older sister could die, split from Melania, feeling very alone with his children, from his children. But you know what they say, money's thicker than water. So, I mean, blood is thicker than water, but money's thicker too. So, you know, he is very paranoid, very, very insecure. And also, you know, he's got that South Node just in general with his moon. He's psychically attuned, and he's very perceptive. Makes him a great salesman, but a terrible leader. He's just been a horrible leader. And this is everything that's happening now is really bringing it back home. I don't think he's going to be winning the election, but that's a video for another time. And see how down he is on women. Look at that. I mean, he's got that Saturn and the Venus, and he is just so down on women, and just such a male chauvinist pig, and just this narcissistic ego. And on top of it, he's like charismatic and probably eventually could make you believe the lies that he's trying to tell. So anyway, I don't have much to say positive about him except that he's super triggered right now. And we need to be positive and constructive with the focus, which is police reform and interaction reform and basically educational reform. So everyone, going back to the new moon for June 5th, 2020. I see a pretty intense month, oh, this is June 1st. I see a pretty intense month, and everybody's got to keep their head on. They got to get creative, be kind to one another, help out within the group. Be willing to sacrifice yourself for the group, but don't be stupid. Keep your masks on. The virus time is not over. Stay safe and stay creative, and make this the most creative, wonderful time in your life, no matter where you are or what you're fighting for. Aloha.